good, suffering for being bad. But let's start ending on this. First of all, though, not all judgment is bad. And that's where we need to change our mind. Judgment can't be good. Do you understand judgment sounds so terrible that judgment could be the best thing that could happen for you today? Listen to this. If God would look at you and judge you and say, well done, you've had the best day of your entire life. That's a judgment. Judgment's not always bad. God looked at Jesus and said, this is my beloved son whom I'm well pleased. He looked at what he was doing and said, good job. That's a judgment. So Jesus looked at the disciples and said, why are you so afraid? Where's your faith? That's a judgment, right? And it was a negative judgment. Why? Because if they don't get over their fears, they're going to fall to every storm from that day on. It was a test to get them over out of fear and into faith. If you have that same fear, and I ask you, why are you so afraid? Isn't that a great question? Why are you so afraid? How about this one? What are you so afraid of? What are you afraid is going to happen? If you gave your life totally to the Lord, no reserve, went for God with all your heart, what are you so afraid of? What is going to happen that's so bad? The Bible promises great things are going to happen for you, and yet you're afraid. You're afraid of commitment. You're afraid to walk this out. You're afraid. And so, if these disciples don't get over this fear, if this keeps going, I understand it early on. But if Jesus has to, 10 years from now, come to these disciples and say, do you still not have any faith? Well, they're going to fall to every storm that's ever going to come. They somehow have to cross over from having so much faith in every storm, and all of a sudden say, this is just a storm. We're going to ride this out, or we're going to rebuke it ourselves. But we are not going under. And this is a policy of our life. This is an attitude of our lives. We are going over because we have given our lives to the Lord. We've dedicated our lives to the Lord. We want to serve the Lord. And we're going to go over this. We're going to get over this. We're going to get through this. And if we have to change, Jesus might rebuke the storm. But you know what? He might rebuke me. He might rebuke the storm in me. He might say, well, you know what? That's just the problem is not that storm. The problem is the storm in you. You know what? If he says that, I got to take that. If I fail that, I will fail forever. I'm done with Jesus. If Jesus says it's the storm in you that needs to be silenced, and I don't do anything about it, I might as well put in my retirement. Because I'm stuck. I'm not going any farther until I am willing to deal with the storm that's in me. It's easy if he deals with the storm out there and says, silence, be still. Yay. But if he says, no, there's a storm in you too. Why are you so afraid? Where is your faith? Well then, do you all agree with that? I'm done. I'll even talk about me. I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about me. If he says that to me this week, and I don't do anything about it, I am done advancing. I'm done. I will not advance. I can repeat my messages. I can repeat what I've learned, but I'm not going any farther until I deal with what God just told me about. I have to go forward. So if a storm's in